Good morning. You wake up, you head to the kitchen, and you begin a ritual you've followed for decades. You pour a cup of coffee, maybe you get out a bowl for some cereal or oatmeal, and you reach into the fridge for it. That familiar carton of cold, white liquid you've been told your whole life is the cornerstone of a healthy breakfast: milk. But what if that very first drink of the day, that symbol of health and strong bones, is silently waging a war against your manhood? What if, with every glass, you're introducing a substance that systematically constricts blood flow, disrupts your hormones, and creates a fire of inflammation right in the arteries that matter most? This isn't a scare tactic. This is about a hidden truth in our modern food supply. As a researcher who has spent over 2 decades helping men over 60 reclaim their vitality, I've seen a clear pattern. Men come to me feeling sluggish, disconnected from their bodies, and deeply frustrated with their performance in the bedroom. They've tried everything, but they're still drinking this one thing every single morning. They think it's harmless. They think it's healthy. But the science points to a different story. The evidence suggests that this one common dairy product could be a primary culprit behind the loss of erectile power in men over 60. Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain. I will reveal exactly what this product is, and I'll break down the 3 clear, scientific reasons why it can be so devastating for your circulation down there. More importantly, I will show you what to replace it with to start rebuilding your vascular health from the ground up. One of the alternatives is so effective, men have reported feeling a renewed sense of warmth and readiness in just a couple of weeks. So, stay with me. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor and tap that subscribe button and the little bell icon. The information we share on this channel is designed to give you back control of your health. And if you're ready to learn the truth, type reveal in the comments below. Let's begin. The culprit: conventional cow's milk. All right, let's not beat around the bush. The single dairy product I'm warning you about is conventional, pasteurized, homogenized cow's milk. I can already hear the objections. Milk? But it's natural. I've been drinking it my whole life. It's full of calcium and vitamin D. And you are right. That is what we have been told for generations. But the milk on your great-grandfather's farm is a world away from the product sitting in your refrigerator today. Modern dairy farming practices have changed the very nature of this food, turning it from a simple nutrient source into a potential hormonal and inflammatory trigger. Let's break down the 3 core reasons why this morning staple could be the secret enemy of your erections. Point 1. The hormone disruption. Let me tell you about Arthur. Arthur was 67, a former accountant who prided himself on his disciplined, healthy habits. He walked 2 miles every day, avoided junk food, and started every single morning with a large glass of skim milk with his oatmeal. Yet, he felt a profound sense of fatigue. His libido was non-existent, and his morning erections, which used to be a reliable sign of his health, had become a distant memory. He just chalked it up to getting older. The fire is just going out, I guess, he told me, defeated. But Arthur's fire wasn't just going out. It was being doused. The problem was in his healthy glass of milk. Here's the simple science. To maximize production, modern dairy cows are kept pregnant for the vast majority of their lives. A pregnant cow's body is flooded with hormones, particularly estrogen. These hormones inevitably pass into the milk. Studies have shown that the milk we buy in stores can contain significant levels of estrogens, like estrone sulfate. For a man over 60, this is a critical problem. As you age, your testosterone levels naturally begin a slow decline. Testosterone is the gas pedal for your libido, your energy, and your erectile function. Estrogen, in this context, acts like the brake. When you drink conventional milk, especially first thing in the morning, you are introducing a flood of external estrogens into your system at the very time your own testosterone production should be at its daily peak. This can disrupt your delicate hormonal balance. The excess estrogen can compete with your testosterone, dulling its effects. It's like trying to start a powerful engine while someone else has their foot on the brake. Over time, this daily hormonal interference can lead to lower libido, reduced energy, and a weaker erectile signal. Arthur was skeptical, but he agreed to a simple experiment. For 30 days, he would replace his cow's milk with an alternative I suggested. After just 2 weeks, he called me. "It's strange," he said. "I feel lighter, and I've noticed something I haven't seen in years." His morning erections were beginning to return. By removing the daily dose of external hormones, he allowed his body's own testosterone to do its job without interference. He wasn't getting older. He was simply getting out of his own way. Point 2. The fire of inflammation. Now, let's talk about the structure of the milk itself. Beyond the hormones, there is a protein in most conventional milk that can act like an accelerant on the slow-burning fire of chronic inflammation in your body. And for your arteries, inflammation is rust. The protein is called aonic casein. Most of the milk sold in Western countries comes from Holstein cows, which predominantly produce this aonic casein. When you digest aonic casein, it can break down into a peptide called beta-casomorphin 7, or BCM7. Research has linked BCM7 to a host of inflammatory responses in the body. Why does this matter for your erections? Your erections are 100% dependent on blood flow. That blood flow happens through arteries. The inner lining of your arteries, a delicate layer called the endothelium, is the control center for blood flow. It's what produces our hero molecule, nitric oxide, which tells the arteries to relax and open up. Chronic inflammation is the mortal enemy of the endothelium. It damages this delicate lining, making it stiff and unable to produce nitric oxide efficiently. When you start your day with a food that promotes inflammation, you are essentially telling your body to attack its own plumbing. Let me tell you about Walter, 71. Walter suffered from 2 things he believed were unrelated: nagging joint pain in his hands and unpredictable weak erections. He was taking medication for his arthritis and was considering medication for his ED. He was a big ice cream and cheese lover and had milk with his cereal every morning. I explained the aonic casein connection to him. I described how the same inflammatory process that was making his joints ache could also be inflaming and damaging the tiny, sensitive arteries in his pelvic region. The arteries that supply blood to the penis are some of the smallest in the body. They are the canary in the coal mine for vascular health. They are often the first to show signs of damage from plaque and inflammation. Walter decided to cut out all AON dairy. It was difficult, but his frustration was a powerful motivator. A month later, he reported a significant reduction in his joint pain. But the real surprise was what happened in the bedroom. "Things are just more reliable," he said, almost shyly. "The response is quicker, stronger. It's like the message is finally getting through again." He wasn't just masking symptoms. By removing the inflammatory trigger he was consuming every morning, he allowed his body to begin healing the underlying damage to his arteries, both in his hands and in the one place that mattered most for his confidence. Point 3. The plaque, plumbing problem. Finally, let's talk about the fats and sugars in milk. We've discussed the hormones that act as a brake and the proteins that cause rust. Now, let's talk about the substance that physically clogs the pipes, arterial plaque. The primary driver of arterial plaque, or atherosclerosis, is the buildup of LDL, the bad cholesterol, within the artery walls. While the debate on dietary fat is complex, the saturated fat found in whole milk can contribute to higher LDL levels in some individuals. But the problem is compounded by a process called homogenization. Homogenization is a mechanical process that blasts the fat globules in milk into tiny particles to prevent the cream from separating and rising to the top. There's a theory that this process makes the fat more easily absorbed in a way that can contribute to arterial damage and plaque formation. Think of it like this. Your arteries are a complex plumbing system. The arteries in your pelvic region are like the tiny pipes leading to a delicate faucet. Even a small amount of plaque, a tiny bit of gravel in those pipes, can dramatically reduce the flow. For a strong erection, you need a powerful, unimpeded rush of blood. Atherosclerosis makes this impossible. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a garden hose that someone is standing on. Let's consider Samuel, 65. His doctor had warned him about his borderline high cholesterol. Samuel was careful, he thought. He switched from whole milk to 1% milk, believing he was making the healthy choice. But his numbers weren't improving, and he was experiencing a gradual decline in erectile quality that worried him deeply. The issue is that even low-fat milk contains the same hormones and aonic casein. Furthermore, the sugar in milk, lactose, can cause an insulin spike in many people. Chronic insulin spikes are another major contributor to vascular damage over time, so his healthy choice was still contributing to the problem on multiple fronts. When Samuel finally eliminated cow's milk from his diet altogether, as part of a broader shift towards plant-based foods, the results were astounding. In 3 months, his LDL cholesterol dropped 20 points. His doctor was thrilled. But Samuel was more thrilled by the change he felt in his body. The reliability and firmness he thought he had lost to age were returning. He had stopped pouring the ingredients for plaque into his system every single morning, and his arteries were finally getting a chance to clear out. The solution: what to drink instead. Okay, so I've just told you to throw out a staple food you've trusted your entire life. I would never leave you with a problem without providing a clear solution. The goal is not deprivation. It's a strategic upgrade. Here are some excellent, widely available alternatives that will support your vascular health instead of sabotaging it. Unsweetened almond milk. This is my top recommendation. It's low in calories, sugar-free, make sure it's unsweetened, and doesn't contain the inflammatory proteins or hormones of cow's milk. It's a clean, neutral base for smoothies, oatmeal, or your coffee. Unsweetened coconut milk from a carton. Another fantastic option. It contains medium-chain triglycerides, MCTs, which are a good source of energy. It has a slightly richer texture than almond milk and is also free of the problematic components of dairy milk. Oat milk. This has become very popular, and it's a good choice, but with a caution. You must choose an unsweetened version that is free of added oils. Some brands contain a lot of sugar and inflammatory vegetable oils, so read the label carefully. A quick note: for men who simply cannot imagine life without dairy, you could look for milk specifically labeled as Attu milk. This comes from cows that naturally produce the Attu casein protein, which does not break down into the inflammatory BCM7 peptide. It is a form of harm reduction, but it will still contain the hormones from pregnant cows. My strongest recommendation remains to switch to a plant-based alternative. Synergy, removing the brakes. Now, think about how this one simple change works in synergy with a healthy diet. Imagine you start adding beetroot and watermelon to your diet to boost nitric oxide. That's like pressing the gas pedal for blood flow. But if you're still drinking conventional milk every morning, you're pressing the brake pedal, hormone disruption, and rusting the fuel lines, inflammation, at the same time. You're fighting against yourself. When you remove the conventional milk, you remove the brakes. You stop the daily inflammatory assault. Now, when you eat those powerful, circulation-boosting foods, the oats, the walnuts, the beets, the garlic, they can work their magic in a clean, responsive system. You're not just adding good things. You're removing the primary obstacle that was preventing the good things from working. This is the difference between struggling for minor improvements and achieving a fundamental transformation in your vascular health. Conclusion: you now possess a crucial piece of information that most men will never know. You understand that the innocent-looking carton of milk in your fridge may be a Trojan horse, silently undermining the very hormonal and vascular systems your manhood depends on. You know the 3 culprits: the hormone disruption, the casein inflammation, and the potential for plaque buildup. This knowledge is your power, but it's only potential power until you act on it. I am not asking you to be perfect. I am asking you to be curious. Try a simple experiment. For the next 14 days, just 14 days, make one change. Swap your conventional cow's milk for unsweetened almond milk. That's it. Don't change anything else. Just observe how you feel. Notice the subtle shifts in your energy, your digestion, and the feeling of warmth and responsiveness in your body. That first choice you make when the sun comes up sets the trajectory for your health for the rest of the day. Stop starting your day with a hormonal and inflammatory trigger. Start with a choice that cleanses, calms, and supports your circulation. You are not too old. Your body has not given up on you. It is desperately trying to heal itself. You simply need to stop giving it the things that hurt and start giving it the things that help. This is a foundational step. If this video has opened your eyes, please let me know in the comments. Which milk alternative are you going to try? Your journey can inspire another man to start his. Click the like button to help this vital message reach more men who need to hear it. And make sure you are subscribed, because your journey to reclaiming your vitality is just beginning. The power to change is on your shelf. It's in your shopping cart. It's in your next decision. You can do this.